isn't that sad that like when it comes to Harry, his niece and his nephew comes before him in succession.
Well, he left the royal family.
Well, no, that's the way it works. That's the way it works. That's the bloodline.
Oh, okay.
It has nothing to do with his leaving. That's how the bloodline works.
Yeah, it's always it's like the closest.
No one ever said the bloodline had to make sense.
But I would honestly, I'd rather be Harry over Charles because like you get all the perks of royalty with none of that like nonsense.
None of the hassle.
Yeah, it's like fine. I don't want it.
Yeah, and you get to live in Canada.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather live in Canada than the UK.
I mean, it really doesn't matter for them. They could live here and they would get everything that they needed.
Actually, they come between here or California and Canada's where they bounce between, right?
Yeah, they come to Cali a few times.
Because Harry's trying to
She's from there. I think she's from California.
She was an actress, so yeah, she's set up. She was originally set up there.
One of my favorite stories about them was that Harry was meeting with somebody from like Pixar. He just ran into them. He's like, "Hey, my wife does like voice work." I'm like, "How privileged is that to be like?" I know that there's actually people who train to do these voice things and stuff, but like put her in. Yeah,
I had trouble following that. I'll go through that again. He went to Pixar. He spoke to somebody,
to like the head of it or whatever, and tried to get Meghan Markle a job.
Oh, okay. That's how that worked. Well,
told you I can't word.
You can. It was very hard to follow. I got Pixar. Hey, my wife does this, and then royal people get whatever they want. I'm like, what? I kind of lost. I didn't get that. I got it now, but I didn't get it at the time. But yeah, that's how royalty works, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can get whatever you want when you're royalty.
You get next to no privacy, but who cares? Like that's the trade-off.
Well, Diana cared.
Yeah.
But that was like after she was no longer royal. She's like, "Hey, you guys kicked me out. Leave me alone."
And then they still hounded her, even after she wasn't a royal anymore.
I don't know. Like, again, they have privacy. Like, they don't have to do the normal things. They don't. You're not going to. They're not like, "Oh man, I've got to go out and get like the Butterfingers from the store. I've got to get past the paparazzi." Someone does it for them.
Yeah.
Like, the public's overrated. You could just sit in a room, read your books, be served food. Like, you don't have to worry about what's for dinner because someone's going to make it for you. And if you don't like it, you can just, like, Trump style, throw it on the floor and be like, "Give me something else."
Or give me McDonald's. That would be Trump.
Yeah, like, I bet you run to the McDonald's drive-thru. Like, it's a pretty easy life. Like, the public's overrated. You don't have to go out there. And it's not like you would never see people because you have your little servants and stuff. And assuming you make eye contact with them, you'll be fine.
I suppose. My thing is, I would get tired of always being inside.
Well,
they go outside. You're royal.
No, but then you get hassled by people and.
Well, they have grounds. Do you mean just like literally like out in the sun or like?
Because I don't.
Among other people.
Screw the grounds. That's another thing. Like, okay, I get. People have yards, but eventually you want contact with other people, and then you go out and you're like, all the people, and then you have to run back in because screw the photographers and all the people screaming.
I think I could do it without having to
develop a drug addict. You can sustain
addiction. I mean,
what?
Like develop a drug addiction. You said develop a drug addict.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Well,
that would be hard to develop
a drug addiction. You can sustain that kind of thing when you're infinitely wealthy.
Like Prince Albert, he had a drug addiction as well as syphilis,
and maybe
he probably died happier than we will ever be.
Yeah, and he was not a serious suspect, but he was a suspect. He was looked at by police in the 1880s for possibly being Jack the Ripper.
When did we cure syphilis?
Have we ever?
Yeah.
We have?
Penicillin.
That kills it, really?
Oh yeah, it took a while for it to. I thought the Tuskegee experiment.
Oh yeah, but if it goes to the brain though, it can't cure that though, does it still? Or does it?
I don't think so. I think if it's gone to the brain, then it's kind of done its damage.
But
I don't think there's any reversing that.
Now it's so easy to spot its symptoms that like I don't think there's a whole lot of syphilis deaths in this world anymore. Now I want to know if there are.
I don't know. Diseases are making a comeback since people don't trust
like
medicine
knock on wood. Yeah.
Syphilis is actually still bogged down, but apparently gonorrhea is like intense these days. Like even normal meds sometimes don't.
This is going to be a great segment.
This is gonorrhea,
syphilis,
polio. There's kids with polio in New York right now. Congratulations, America. I hope you're thrilled with yourself. Really.
So since 1968 to 2015, 6,498 deaths have been listed as having syphilis as the underlying causes. The annual number of deaths decreased from 586 in 968 to 80 in 1985. And since 1988, we've only had between 28 to 47 deaths a year in the United States.
But Prince Albert died.
So, yeah, I guess still 28 to 47 people. That's gotta suck.
What, to die of syphilis? Yeah, that must really
to
suck.
have sex, and it was great sex, and then you end up dying a little while later.
Yeah, it's a shot of mold. That's all you need. Just mold. One shot.
Well, I guess AIDS would be worse than syphilis, though. But syphilis too. You can get that by blood transfusion too. I'm sure. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but like I said, syphilis though, like the symptoms are so clearly prominently recognized,
especially if it goes into the brain.
Like you have to be avoiding, because you start looking like a zombie.
Yeah.
Like a literal. That's what you look like, and so like you have to be one of those people. Like I said, don't go out in the public and never see a doctor.
I remember what the theory was behind Prince Albert. Now, why he was a suspect. That he would go out and get together with these prostitutes that gave him syphilis, and that the public was starting to realize this, and that the royal family had the prostitutes killed, the ones that Jack the Ripper killed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. He'd gotten one of the. There was a theory he may have gotten one of the ones pregnant. And obviously you don't want a royal baby from a prostitute, because that's how the royal family acts.
Man, who came up with that scheme? Because the prostitutes were all like brutally murdered.
Well, it's
like, make it look nasty.
Make it look disgusting, and take organs with you as souvenirs.
Make it as disturbing as possible so that it won't lead back to us for some reason.
And that's kind of but I mean, that theory was like quickly put down, because it's like, no. There were so many other, like, there's been a couple other. They think they've solved it for the most part. Like, it's not nailed in stone at this point, but there's this one guy that basically fits the bill. He was even roommates with the last one of because there's the canonical five, they call them, and he was roommates with the last one. And I feel
like this has been a thing for you this past week. You got onto it like a Jack the Ripper.
No, this is just history. I mean, I just know. It's just history that I have built up in my brain from the past, and just Jack the Ripper. Yeah, but all this talk of the royal family, especially Prince Andrew, who's took me back to Prince Albert. Oh yes, the ring in the you-know-where was named after him.
You can say penis.
I don't want to. I didn't feel like it.
You're right, though. Gonorrhea takes 2,300 people a year.
Yeah, and it's getting worse.
Well, apparently. Because now it's becoming resistant to antibiotics, like the gonorrhea is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, none of us have to be afraid. Do we? Do we? Does anyone of the three?
I mean, I'm the only one who's single. I guess I'm vulnerable to it.
Well, not if you wrap it up and or get into a committed relationship with someone. I think you're fine.
I have too many commitment issues, and yeah, we'll just say I'm vulnerable to it.
And yeah,
I am in gonorrhea's crosshairs. Don't edit that out. We'll do this later, please.